Hello everybody, welcome to the Cruise and Travel Show. I am Chris with High Seas Cruising, where we talk about everything cruise and travel related. Got 2 stories to go over with y'all this week. Well, 3. I got kind of a little add-on here at the end. And we're going to get to those right after this. Alright, welcome to this week's show. 1 week of February is done and in the books. So I hope everyone has had a great week and has stayed healthy and safe. So let's get into this week's cruising stories. So the first one out is an article I read that Carnival Cruise Line released new guidelines, health and safety protocols for their ships when they resume cruising here in the United States. A little bit of an outcry over it. People were kind of upset a little bit about some of the stuff was in it. Honestly, I don't know why. And there was nothing in it that surprised me. But what does surprise me is it actually real? So there are stories, there were articles. If you go over to Carnival's website, I can't find it on there. So I really wonder, is this something that was supposed to get out to the public? Did it get out accidentally? Not sure really what's going on with that, but I think if this was something that we needed to know right now, that it would be on their website. We'd be able to find it there, and I can't. The only thing I can find are the articles that everybody else is reading too. But I'll still go over what it says because I'm not surprised by anything that's in here. These are the same things that they did in Europe. It's basically the exact same thing that MSC is doing now with their sailings in Europe. And honestly, I've always figured that what they did in Europe, they were going to test it, they were going to see what was working, what wasn't working, and they were going to implement it here. So I'm not honestly surprised, but let me read a couple of these here. So, number 1 is going to be masks. No shock there. I mean, really. If you were surprised that a mask requirement was going to show up, I think you were kind of hoping and dreaming. Until COVID goes away, until we actually reach what they're calling herd immunity, masks are still going to be a requirement, even if you've had the vaccine. Cruise terminal, you're going to wear a mask. Getting on the ship, you're going to wear a mask. Anytime that you are inside, there's a mask requirement, except for when you're eating or drinking while seated at a table or using cardio equipment in the gym. They will also be required outside when you cannot maintain social distancing. So if you're outside in a crowd, they're still going to want you to wear it. But, if you're out by the railing by yourself, enjoying the views, it reads like you won't have to have it on. And of course, you don't have to have it on in your stateroom, swimming in a pool, hot tub, something like that. Says it must be worn over the mouth and the nose, no neck gaiters, no bandanas. A face shield would be okay, but you still have to have a mask on underneath that. I mean, I'll give you my personal opinion. I hate the damn things. Okay? I don't like them. I don't like wearing them. Not really sure I know anybody who's like, yay, I'm so excited I get to wear a mask. But I do wear them where I'm supposed to. I think that businesses have a right to want you to wear it. It's a private business. They make the rules. If you don't like it, don't go there. When it comes to cruise ships, if you don't want to wear a mask on a cruise ship, don't go on a cruise ship that requires you to wear a mask. Simple. Wait until they're not required. But if you want to go on a cruise ship now, you're going to wear a mask. I want to go on a cruise ship now, so I'll wear it where I have to. I've taken a couple of flights this last year, had to wear a mask. In the airport, had to wear a mask. Using rideshare services, have to wear a mask. So, cruise ship, not surprised that we're going to have to wear a mask. All right. Number 2 on the list is that you must have a negative COVID test 5 days to 24 hours prior to sailing. And that Carnival will do additional testing either at the cruise port or on board the ship. So here's another one that's not really any type of surprise. You got to have a negative COVID test. There's been talk that they were going to do that at the cruise port, that you were going to be taking a test and have to have a negative one before you can board the ship. This just says you got to have it 5 days to 24 hours prior to boarding. I'm assuming they're still going to do temperature checks. They're at the cruise port prior to boarding, several times during the cruise. So again, this is not groundbreaking news. This is not a, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to do it part of this at all. Third thing on the list was shore excursions. Again, this is something that's already been going on, and we've already seen consequences of people who violate it. So shore excursions are going to be Carnival shore excursions only. They're going to want to maintain that cruise bubble, keep everybody safe, not bring anything back on board the ship. Common sense. You are not going to be allowed to get off the ship and wander around on your own. Can't get off and enjoy the port like a lot of us are used to. And I'm one of those people, I like to just get off the ship and explore around. But according to this, you're not going to be able to do that right away. It's going to have to be a Carnival shore excursion. What's going to happen to you if you don't follow the rules? So if you get off the ship and you wander off, they are not going to let you back on. Violate the policy, they're kicking you off. Okay? No refunds, no credits, no compensation, and you were financially responsible to get yourself home from wherever you are. Okay? So if these are actual rules and they go into actual effect, remember that. Don't do whatever you want to do. They're going to leave you behind. Go back and look and see what happened to the couple on the MSC ship who wandered off. Cruise ship just, boop, put them right there and took off and left them. Cruise ships are not going to play with the health and safety protocols, because once they are able to return to sailing and they can get paying passengers back on board, trust me, they're not going to do something that's going to cause them to lose that. Believe me, if it means leaving you on the dock or continuing to sail, you will be left on that dock. And the last thing it talked about was contact tracing. Where is the surprise in this? Contact tracing is going to happen. It's going to be through wearable items, video cameras on the ship. They're going to track your transactions that you make to know, hey, you were at the bar buying a drink at such and such time. They already do all that. They already know where you are on the ship. They already know what's going on. So again, no shock. You can talk about violating my privacy all you want. They've been tracking you in one way or another. If you've ever gone on a cruise before, if you've gone to Disney World, where they use the magic bands, they track where you are. They know what you're doing. They know what's going on. They do not care. If you were down on deck 5, looking over the side of the ship, daydreaming about Guy's Burgers, that's not what they're interested in. They've tracked movement around the ship, purchases, and activities, simply because it also helps them to know, hey, this is really popular on the ship. We should put this on other ships. This is not popular. Nobody likes it. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of it and take it off the ships. Now it's just going to be used, hey, you were near so-and-so for more than 15 minutes. They've tested positive. We know who to look at. That's all it is. It's not an invasion of privacy. And if you think it is, stay in your house, turn off your phones, unplug all of your electronic devices, because they're tracking you anyway. And I'm not going to stop going on vacation because somewhere in a computer somewhere that says, oh my God, he enjoyed a pina colada at 11 o'clock today. Who cares? For the big story of the week, and the one that has affected a few people for sure, and me included, Canada has banned all cruise ships in Canadian waters till February of 2022. What does that mean for the Alaska cruise season? And that's kind of what we're still waiting to see. Most people have already said Alaska cruise season is going to be canceled. Not going to have it. Not going to get to go. But And I guess this is where I'm at right now. I have an Alaskan cruise scheduled for May of 2021. It's going like the 23rd, so it was right after the last cruise cancellations. Canada announced this on Thursday. Here we are, it's Sunday, and I have not received a cancellation from Princess Cruises saying my cruise is canceled yet. Now, this could just be hopeful thinking. Me in my head saying, okay, there's still a chance, but there actually might be. I would think that right now, that the cruise lines are petitioning the government for a possible waiver for the Passenger Vessel Services Act, which is what prevents them simply from sailing from California to Alaska and back, because it says they must make a stop in a foreign port, which is normally done in Canada. So if they could get a waiver for that, that says, okay, for X amount of time, let's just say a year. For the next year, we can waive this for cruise ships, and the Alaska season could resume, provided we start test cruising here in the United States and we can actually begin to sail here. That, of course, has to happen first. But if they could get that waiver, then we would, in theory, still be able to have some of the Alaska season. Does that mean I'm going to get to go on my cruise in May? Probably not. I'm not 100% hopeful that that is going to happen. I think at this point, I would be more surprised if I got to cruise than if we didn't. But it's still a chance, and it's still a hope. And a waiver like that could possibly allow maybe cruises to nowhere from big ports in Florida, up the East Coast, out of Galveston, down here in Texas. But of course, the question will be, is that something the government will even consider? And is it something we can get in time to save any of the Alaska season? Now, a second possibility, and I don't know how the new Canadian cruise ban can affect this, but I did see it mentioned before, the possibility of using Canada is only a technical stop. So what that would mean is that the cruise ship would pull into the Canadian port, would check itself in, have all the documents checked and everything like that, but nobody gets off the ship. It simply comes in, ties up, gets verified through customs and checked in, and then it leaves and resumes its sailings to Alaska. That does count as a stop in a foreign port and would allow Alaska cruises to continue. But again, it's something they have to petition from the Canadian government. It has to be approved. And is that even a possibility and something that can be done in time to save any of the Alaskan cruises? I think until the cruise lines actually start to cancel Alaska cruises, they are working on something. And so that leaves a sliver of hope that we might still get into Alaska this year. But we're going to see. I mean, I'm personally really hoping that we do. Our big cruise in May is actually for my wife's birthday. Had it all planned out. We were going to be cruising the glaciers on her birthday. She was going to have breakfast on the balcony. It was a big deal, and I can tell she is really disappointed that she might not get to go on this cruise. It's been a bucket list cruise item for her. Finally said, okay, this is the one we're going to do. We're going to do it for your birthday, and voila, look what happens. You know, when the framework for cruising came out last year, there was hope. Said, okay, we're going to do some test cruising. We're going to get back into it. And it still hasn't happened. Here we are 1 week into February, and we still have nothing. No test cruises, haven't heard anything. Don't know that we're going to hear anything soon. If you've ever had any dealings with the government, and we all have at some point in time, you know it is a slow moving wheel that just grinds along at its own pace. So who knows what's really going on with that. Until we actually hear something official, everything is a guess. I just know we're waiting on the CDC at this point to finish releasing what the cruise ships need to do to get started. So we keep waiting. Now, On some positive news, though, and I read this morning. I was reading an article this morning about travel, and I came across this, and you know what? It makes perfect sense, and I never thought of it before. The U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Croix, St. John, St. Thomas, they're U.S. territories. Didn't click in my head. You can fly from the United States to one of those islands, don't need a passport. Doesn't count as international travel. It's really no different than flying from Texas to Florida, Florida to California. Still considered the United States. So, while all these rules and restrictions are going on, and we're all trying to be safe, but if you need a vacation, maybe the Virgin Islands. I started looking at it this morning, and if this Alaska cruise season is done, I personally don't think I'm going to book any more cruises after this until cruising actually restarts. Thinking about maybe looking at the Virgin Islands as a vacation getaway for now. Still can get the Caribbean, still can get the beach resorts, just no ship. Not as good, but better than nothing. Because I still want her to have a good birthday trip this year. So that's going to be a possibility. Let me know what you think. Any good destinations that you can think of? Maybe someplace she would enjoy other than the Virgin Islands? Because I think right now that is the top of the list. But, you know, there could be other things out there I'm just not thinking about. So let me know in the comments below. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this week's show. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Smash that button for us. Hit that subscribe button. And we will see you out on the high seas eventually.